Hi, my name is Jackie, and you've tuned in to Jackie and the Other Side of Beauty. If this is your first time here, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. And if you're returning, it's always good to have you back. Today we are doing part 2 of the declutter, and this is going to be mainly focused on eyeshadow palettes. I will put a card up for part 1. So if you're interested in seeing which palettes I'll be keeping and which ones are on their way out, you have to keep watching. Okay, here are the other palettes that I had picked up from Clarity Cosmetics. I really went and bought 3 palettes, and the reason I brought 3 palettes is, and this included, is because I really wanted this palette by Clarity, and they were having a sale, so I picked up the others. This is called the Aloha palette. Okay, so this is the Aloha palette by Clarity. And I think it's just so gorgeous. So pretty. So I'm definitely keeping this one. I haven't even used it. And then here's another one by Clarity. This is called the Bridal Party palette by Clarity. And this is also a pressed pigment palette. All of these are pressed pigment palettes by Clarity. Isn't the packaging just so gorgeous? And this is what this palette looks like. Again, another pretty stunning palette. Oh, you should see it in person, you guys. Let me see if I can kind of get what it really looks like in person. Yeah, this is close to really what it looks like in person. It's very pretty. So, Bridal Party. And this one right here, this shade right here, oh, this looks stunning. They look stunning. Can't wait to use it. And then you guys heard me rave about this one. This is the palette that I'm going to use for the latte look. And this is the I Love Coffee palette. Okay, and this is what this palette looks like. Love it, love it, love it. And so these are my newer palettes by Clarity Cosmetics. And let's see, this is by Isabel. Do I want to keep this? I don't think that I want to keep this one. I'm going to set it to the side, but I think I'm going to declutter this. Set it right up here. And I've got to switch arms. My arms hurt. Okay. Then I have these 2 Super Shock Shadows by ColourPop. This is in the shade Free Reign. Very pretty bronzy shade. And then I have the shade Basic Instinct. Another pretty bronzy shade. Here's just a palette that I created, or some shadows, single shadows that I pulled from Makeup Geek back in the day. Right here. Here is the Venus 3 palette by Lime Crime. This palette doesn't look like anything, but I did a really pretty look using it. So I'm going to keep this. This is my go-to palette by, who's this by? Alamar Cosmetics. I've been wanting to declutter this so many times in the past, but whenever I pull it, I wear this palette out. So this is cute, and I'm not getting rid of it. And I haven't really used this with you guys. MILF, Man, I Love Frogs. And this is what this one looks like. Now, I'm going to keep this one because I'm sure I do want to use this one. And they just throw me off because there is no matte shades. These are all really foiled and metallic looking on the eyes. But I do want to keep this one. Okay, here's another drawer. Here is my eyeshadow palette by, this is called Chase Your Dreams. Who is this by? Sydney Grace is who this is by. And this is what this palette looks like. This is really basic, but nice palette. I enjoy using it. Here's what I just had in my Shop My Stash. This is Milani, and this is the Gilded Flora palette. Just had it in my Shop My Stash, so I'm keeping this. Couldn't wait to hunt this down and get it, and still haven't used it. This is by Sugar High Menagerie Cosmetics. Never used it. Swatched it several times. This is what this palette looks like. Very nice. I am keeping this. Milani basic palette that I love. Keeping this. Okay, Beauty Bay Age of Opulence. Still have not used this. But I am keeping this. Very pretty. One day I'll get around to using it. It's just so pretty. The Wilderness palette by Beauty Bay. I have used this one. I did a look using this palette. I forgot what the look was, but it was the collab with Curve. And I used this palette in it. Definitely keeping this palette right here. This is by Milk Cosmetics, and this is the what palette? This is the Amor y Mariposas palette, and I'm keeping this one. Oh, I hope this thing doesn't tilt. This is the Gemini palette by Milk Cosmetics. I'm keeping this one. I'm tempted to buy the other Gemini palette as well. Probably will. But this is what this one looks like. And I have used this one. Also created 2 looks with this one. And I got this palette. I won it in a giveaway from my girl, Alex. Thank you, Alex. I have this Sugar Drizzle palette. And this is by Sugar Drizzle. Haven't used this in a look. This is what it looks like. This is another palette that I think I want to declutter. So I'm going to stick it over here. I'll come back to it. But I think I do want to declutter it. Okay, let's go to the next drawer. Okay, also, this is the one I have on my eyes today. I already told you guys. So I'm keeping this one. Putting it back in here with my other Milani palettes. Okay, down here, I have just a few palettes. I have this Nomad palette. This is their Hudson Valley palette. Didn't get to use this. Maybe, did I use this once? And this is what this palette looks like. Very pretty. So I am keeping this. I really didn't use it. I tried to put it in a Shop My Stash, but it was just too glittery for me as an everyday palette. So I'm going to be pulling this fall for probably just for a dedicated look. Oh, this was given to me by Leanna Dalton. And this is by Ciate London. I Am Woman. What's Your Superpower? This is an okay palette. Yeah, just a really basic palette. It's just okay. This eyeshadow formula isn't my preference, but I am going to keep it because it was a gift. This palette by BH Cosmetics. Now, I was telling you guys I had a powder. Okay, remember I told you guys I had a powder, but I couldn't think of the brand. This one. This powder was by BH Cosmetics. Now I don't have to pop up a note. This is the Naughty palette by BH Cosmetics. Oh, this is what this palette looks like. And I'm definitely keeping this palette. So I am definitely going to be keeping this palette. Okay, here's where we are. And we have a Morphe palette. Now you guys know this is all just by the looks of it. But I don't want to get rid of it. I do not want to get rid of it. This is their 35F. It was called, what, Fall into Fall or something like that. Okay, so this is what this palette looks like. Kind of muted shades, but very nice shimmers. When I don't want that metallic look, I just want to pop a nice little shimmer on the lid. Now this palette has been reformulated. So they have a newer 35F palette, but this was the first one they did. And now they have a different one, but this was the one that I picked up back in the day, and I still love it. So yes, I'm keeping this. Now we have our NYX palette. You guys can kind of see what it looks like. Really not feeling this at the moment, so I'm going to declutter this. I bought this one as the smaller version to the Tarte Man-Eater palette, and I don't like it. This is what the palette looks like. I like the middle shade on the bottom, of course, and that's it. I do not like these metallic shades in here. I don't like this palette. So I'm getting rid of this. Of course, you know I like this Sweet Heart Cravings palette. So what this one looks like. Love it. And then I just was using this last week. The Desert Lights palette by, who is this by? Flower Beauty. Is this by Flower Beauty? Yes, by Flower Beauty. Was just using this. Did I have this on? As a matter of fact, I wore this yesterday, I believe, and the day before. So I was fooling around with this one again. Now this one I have not used, so I will be using this because this probably will be a pretty fall one. Keeping this. This is another Tarte palette. It's called the, okay, this is called the Unleashed palette by Tarte. It says Young, Wild, and is cruelty free. This is what this one looks like on the inside. Not, just kind of basic, but I think I still may want to hang on to this one. Just for those basic days. And then I have this Morphe palette. This is the 9J palette. This is their artistry palette. And this is called Just a Crush. And again, this is by Morphe. Very nice palette, so I am keeping this. Wore this palette last week by Viseart. Just kept creating matte looks, so yes, keeping this. I also use this Viseart palette with this one by Flower Beauty because there's no matte shades. So I did use this one. This is their, I can't read that little writing, but all matte palette. So yes, I love that. Here's another Viseart palette. This is the Dark Edit palette. That, yeah, that green just keeps on breaking up. Very pretty palette though. I need to try to fix that green. Well, it looks like it's okay. It's just, it was cracked when I got it. So it looks like the better part of it has broken off. But I just need to clean the palette up. But yes, I'm keeping this. This is another palette by Coastal Scents. I bought all these single shadows. These palettes were when I just started out using eyeshadow. And everybody was telling me how cheap they, well, I kept hearing on YouTube how cheap the Coastal Scents single shadows were. I really want to get rid of this. I think I will, but this one is this is hard because every time I dip in here, I make some cute looks with this palette. I'm keeping this. Don't y'all say anything. This Jaclyn Hill palette, never reach for it anymore. Now I do like the matte shades. Some of our matte shades in here are really nice, but I can get rid of this. Ugh. Here's another Morphe palette. This is their 39A, Dare to Create. Oh, I just had to have this palette. And there again are some very nice matte shades, but I think I am over it. I went ahead and taped this up here. So I'm going to declutter this, see if somebody else wants it. And then what's left in here are my two palettes by Pinky Rose. Now I know, which one did I use in the eye look? Did I just dig my nail in here? Yeah. Press it back down. Okay, I think I was wearing this one, and then I won actually the palette up here from Isabel Cosmetic, and they posted our pictures. They just, you know, posted your picture of the winners, and I was wearing this palette by Pinky Rose. But on Twitter, Pinky Rose, I tagged them and they reposted me. So that was pretty cool. So I am keeping these palettes by Pinky Rose. This one is... oh, I'm tearing up the doggone palettes. Whew. This one right here is called Exotic Peacock. And then this one is one I think I haven't used, and this is called Obsessed. This is what this one looks like. Do I want this one? I think I'm gonna pass this along too. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep this one. I mean, look at this one again. Do I even want this one? Nah, I'm gonna pass this one along too. The thing is, I don't have very many people to pass this stuff on to. But I'm going to pass it along. That's all in this drawer. So let's put these two back. I really should pass. I really should give up both of these palettes back here, but I am not yet ready. Really, I should get rid of this BH Cosmetics one. I'm going to put it to the side. I really need to. This is so old. But yeah, I got rid of a lot of stuff in this drawer. Let's go to the next. Okay, here we go. In our next palette, that's our next drawer that's overflowing. I can tell you right now, there's probably nothing I'm getting rid of out of this drawer. I have my Natasha Denona Love palette, my Huda Beauty Desert, what is that? Desert Dusk palette. My Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. My Sunset palette by Natasha Denona. And my Lila palette by Natasha Denona. Here's some single shadows by Natasha Denona. And then over here, Sunset palette. Just had this in my shop, my stash. My Dream palette by Natasha Denona, and the Retro palette by Natasha Denona. My Natasha Denona Mini Sunset palette. It's fairly clear that I do love Natasha Denona. But with all that said, it's pretty clear that I also like Huda Beauty. So here's the Love Fest palette by Huda Beauty. The Caramel Brown palette by Huda Beauty. The Nude Rich palette by Huda Beauty. The Nude palette by Huda Beauty. Not going anywhere. And then I have this that I had to have. Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I think I really want to declutter this one. Haven't used it in forever. I had to have that. But I'm going to declutter it. Here is the Naked Heat palette. Here's the Naked Heat palette. I wish they would revamp this one. Don't really wear this palette anymore, but I think my sister might like this one. I'm going to declutter this one. BH Cosmetics, Love Tahiti. Yes, keeping this palette. And here is the Carnival palette by BH Cosmetics. Right here. And I think I'm keeping this one too. Okay, I forgot to show you guys these. I also have these 3 mini palettes. This is called the Peak palette. Oops. Really like this one. This is the Cranberry palette by Natasha Denona. And this one, wouldn't think I would like this, but I really do. The Ayana palette by Natasha Denona. Okay, everything fits back in there really nicely. So let's move on. Okay, this is my last drawer. And then behind me, I have some of my Pat McGrath palettes. We'll look at those when we're done with this one. Let me turn this around. Okay, well. Okay. We have my Juvia's Place palettes. This is the Bronze Rustic palette. This is what this one looks like. Keeping this. Another Juvia's Place palette. This is the Blushed Rose. And this is what this one looks like. Not a favorite, but I am going to keep it. This Fumi palette is called the Queen's palette. Fumi times Juvia's Place. This is what this one looks like. And again, not a favorite, but I am keeping it. This is how I met Leanna Dalton. She had the pink palette and I had the like a nude palette and I did not like it, so we switched. So this is called the Sweet Pinks palette and I am keeping this one. The Berries palette by Juvia's Place. Keeping this. And this was my first Juvia's Place, I think. The Nubian palette. This is Old as Dirt. Very basic, but still love it. And then we have this one. This is the All Matte palette. The Warriors palette 2 by Juvia's Place. This is what it looks like. And I do like that palette. And over here we have one more palette by Juvia's Place. I have quite a few. This is the Magic palette. And this is what it looks like. Very cute. So I'm keeping this one too. Now we have ColourPop. We have the Orchid Unite palette. This is what this one looks like. Wine and Only. This is what this one looks like. So cute. This is one of my favorites. This is the Lush palette. Lush Life. This is what this one looks like. And this cutie. Star Wars palette. Mandalorian. Right. Mandalorian the Child. This is what this palette looks like. Love the greens in it. Keeping this one. This is ColourPop Sage Today. Right here. This one is old, but I'm keeping it. This is a Good Sport palette. Very nice. Then we have two more. This is the Baroque palette by ColourPop. Love, love, love the packaging. Do not like the palette, so I'm decluttering this. Put it right here. And then we have the Wild Child palette by ColourPop. And this is what it looks like. This palette also would be perfect for the latte look. And I'm actually supposed to have 3 Super Shock shadows that went with this palette. I showed you 2. I'm going to have to look for the 3rd one. But yeah, this would be perfect for the latte look. I may have to do 2 of them now. Let me get the first one done first. Okay, ABH. We have the Jackie Aina palette with Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is what this one looks like. Keeping this. The Modern Renaissance palette. Keeping this. Probably because I don't consider myself really a collector. But the ones that I have, I don't think I want to get rid of by Anastasia. We have the Soft Glam palette. This is what this one looks like. The Reezy palette. This is what this one looks like. One of my favorite Anastasia palettes, which is the Rose Metals palette. Yes, this is the Rose Metals palette. Ugh, love this palette. Love it. And then this is one of the last ones I picked up. The Nouveau palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. But this is what it looks like. That's all for this drawer. Okay guys, this is what this drawer looks like with everything that I did not declutter back in here. And this is the final drawer. Let me show you my Pat McGrath palettes and then we'll be out. Okay, you guys, I went through these so fast. I decided to double back around just to show you the insides of them. Again, we have the Retro palette, the My Dream palette, and the Love palette. And this is what they look like. Here we have the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette, Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, the Lila palette, and the Sunset palette. Okay, here is the Desert Dusk, the Lila palette, Sunrise palette, and Sunset palette. Okay, and I have the 2 nude palettes, the Medium, the Rich, the Love Fest, and the Caramel Brown palette. And these are all by Huda Beauty. And here they are right here. So here we are. I just showed you the outer packaging and not the palette inside, so I double back around just so you can see. Okay guys, we have the OP Beauty Spotlight palette. This is what it looks like. I think I can get rid of this. Forgot all about this little MAC palette I got for the New Year's palette by MAC. This is the Made My Fortune palette. Not a favorite. I'll hang on to it. My Serenity palette. This is by Cosmic Brushes. Definitely keeping this palette. I hope to be able to cop their newer palette, the Muse palette, but I haven't been able to catch it yet. But I'm definitely keeping this one. This is the Limeade palette, the Sparkling Cherry Limeade palette by Violet Voss. I can go ahead and declutter this. I don't even think I've ever used it. Am I going to declutter this? Yeah, I think I can get rid of this. And this is the Hip Dot palette. And I am going to keep this one. Jacqueline palette by Jacqueline Hill Cosmetics, I guess. This is what this one looks like. And I think we'll, let's see. Yeah, I think we'll keep this. Right here, I just have some eyeshadow sticks or some liquid shadows. I'm gonna keep these so far. Right here, I have an eyeshadow palette by Makeup Revolution. This is their cherry palette. This is what it looks like here. And yeah, I think I'll keep this one. It's just an XOXO by Lisa Frank. This is, it says Lisa Frank times the Glamour Dolls Heartthrob Matte Eyeshadow. So I am keeping that. I picked this up at the, I think the dollar store. This one reminded me of the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. I think I tried to use it and the shadows were horrible. Okay, that's not terribly bad. I'll go ahead and hang on to this. This will be a good drugstore palette to use when I do a drugstore video. And then we have the Color Story Bright Bloom palette. I've used this several times and I just love the packaging. I never get tired of looking at this. But this palette, yes, I think I will keep. Moving on. Okay guys, I'm sorry. I do have one more drawer. I was wondering where my other Pat McGrath palettes were, and it's because I forgot this drawer. So we'll go through it really quickly. This is my Pat McGrath quad. I just had it in my shop, my stash. My battery's almost dying also. This is the Venus and Florals Luxe Quad. This is what it looks like. I am definitely keeping this. Here are my palettes by Glamlight. This is the Chocolate Martini palette. I'm going to keep this one. And this is the Dirty Martini palette. So pretty. Definitely keeping this. This is by Blink Electric Eyes. But this is really a pretty palette. I do want to keep it. Just stuck my nail in there. Okay, and this is just some single shadows by Colored Rain. Okay, I also have this Ace Beauté Falling For You palette. This is what this one looks like. This is the Colored Rain times Power palette. You saw I had some blushes. This is the actual palette. I think I'm going to give this away. Give that away. Oh, look at me just throwing stuff. I hope I didn't break it. This is a palette that I wasn't planning on purchasing. This is by Colored Rain, but they had it for next to nothing when I went to get the eyeshadow primer. So I went ahead and picked it up. Do love how you can see the thunder on here. So I may keep it. Do I want it? It's kind of a cool tone palette. Do I want this? The thing is, I don't have very many friends that are into eyeshadow. So I would have to find a shelter or something to give these palettes to. The ones that I know my family wouldn't use. Or my friend Alexa, she uses eyeshadow. I don't know. So anyway, I think I'm going to declutter this. Here is Colored Rain. I'm still wanting to keep this. Stila. This is in the shade Twig. Getting rid of it. Thought I would use it. Never have. The Lime Crime Prelude palette. Keeping it. Now this one is by ColourPop, and this is a single shadow palette. This is what it looks like. I can try to see if I can put this in the other drawer with my other Colored Rain shadows. But there we have it. This right here is Pat McGrath Labs. This is the Eye Ecstasy Subversive palette. And this is what it looks like. Probably want to declutter this. And I have this one by Pat McGrath Labs. This was a Christmas palette. This is the Bronze Temptation eyeshadow palette. And this is what this looks like. I think I'll keep this one. Here is my Pat McGrath. This is the Rose Decadence palette. I remember catching this on sale, and I am going to keep this one. Then I have the Holiday palette by Pat McGrath. This one is the Celestial Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity palette. Keeping this. The last palette is the Mothership 8 Divine Rose palette. This is what it looks like. Very pretty. I'm keeping this. Paid a mint for it. I was going to get her latest Mothership palette, but I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth because some people were posting that the palette was available 30% off. And of course, when I tried to get it, I was too late. Then some people posted that they got 20% off. And then when she really released the palette, you were only getting 10% off. So I was kind of ticked about that. I wanted it for 30. Why would you release it in on different tiers, 30, 20, and 10? I didn't like that at all. This is the packaging. It's very reflective. Sorry, my hands are ashy. I just washed them. But this is the package. It's very reflective. But I'm keeping this for sure. Okay, you guys. I forgot. I was indecisive about these three palettes. This is the BH Cosmetics palette. I think I am just going to go ahead and declutter this. It's Belle. I think I'm going to declutter this one. Then I have this Sugar Drizzle palette. I think I am going to declutter this one. Okay, you guys, that completes my declutter series. You have gone through my entire stash and seen the products that I have and the products that I no longer wanted to keep in my stash. I wanted to just go ahead and get rid of things that I wasn't using. So yeah, you've seen me declutter quite a bit and I feel really good about it. So if you did enjoy today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to ring the notification bell. It'll let you know each and every time that I upload a video. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, my friends, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.